the young man made an unexpected discovery. Hidden in the trunk of the rich kid's car was a piece of golden thread Nanmo wood worth millions. But before he could process it, his ex-girlfriend abruptly broke up with him. The young man immediately suggested they use the wood from the trunk to offset his years of investment. The ex-girlfriend thought a piece of junk wood would free her from his clutches. She readily agreed. The young man promptly headed to an antique shop. He pulled out photos of the golden thread Nanmo and asked the owner to help sell it. To his surprise, John was stunned the moment he saw it. He'd never encountered such a massive piece of golden thread Nanmo before. Its market value was easily over $7 million. Impressed by the young man's trust, John immediately promised to sell it within 3 days. The young man readily agreed. Soon after, John returned pulling 2 suitcases. The young man assumed they contained antiques, but upon opening them he found nothing but cash. It turned out John had already found a buyer, and the buyer had purchased it for $8 million. This made the young man incredibly happy. Just yesterday he had been fretting over hundreds of thousands in high-interest debt. Today he had become a millionaire. But on his way home, passing by an antique shop, he discovered the painting the owner had refused to buy was actually a painting within a painting. Hidden inside was a priceless antique painting worth $2 million. He immediately entered the shop and asked the seller if he could buy it. To his surprise, the owner asks for $50,000. The young man explained he only had $5,000. He tells the owner he'll take it if he accepts that price. The owner figures $5,000 is better than nothing. Reluctantly, he sold it to him. The young man then took the painting to John at the antique shop, but this time John said the young man had misjudged it. Just as the young man explained it was a painting within a painting, the antique shop owner walked in. He mocks the young man, saying the paper is too thin for there to be another painting underneath. But the young man insisted that peeling it back would prove it. Wanting to prove the young man wrong, the owner peels off the top layer right there. To everyone's astonishment, a priceless ancient painting was indeed hidden beneath. The dealer, still thinking the young man was clueless about the market, immediately offered $10,000 to buy it. But the young man wasn't foolish. He says he won't sell for anything less than $1 million. Desperate to acquire the painting cheaply, the owner promptly summoned his friends to declare it a forgery. Sure enough, after hearing the owner's few words, they all agreed the painting was fake. Just as the owner thought his plan had succeeded and prepared to take the painting, the young man revealed its true origins. After hearing him, the men carefully examined the painting themselves. It turns out to be authentic. The boss saw his plan fail. The owner threatens that anyone who buys the painting will be his enemy. Afraid of his influence, everyone leaves. But at that moment, John defied the boss's threats and purchased the painting from the young man. The boss declared that if John bought the painting, he would never appraise for him again. But with the young man's eye for antiques, John no longer needs him. He then sold the painting right in front of the boss for $1,800,000. The next day, John took the young man to the antique street for shopping. Unexpectedly, the young man discovered a broken sword once wielded by an ancient emperor. But the boss didn't offer a price right away. Instead, he asked if anyone knew the sword's origins. Everyone watching assumes it's just a cheap fake replica. The owner doesn't get upset. He asked the young man for his opinion. The young man didn't hold back. He stated directly that it was an ancient emperor's ceremonial sword. His arch-rival nearby didn't believe him, because this sword had long since been lost overseas, and at that time the sword hadn't been broken. Seeing this, the young man proposed a wager with his rival. Seeing everyone around him agrees the sword is fake, the rival accepts and puts up $1 million as a wager. He assumed the million represented the young man's entire savings. The young man then asked the shop owner to explain the sword's provenance. To everyone's surprise, the owner confirmed it was indeed the imperial sword the young man described. He had purchased it from abroad. However, the foreigners had no knowledge of its history. This ignorance had led to severe damage to the blade. Reluctantly, the rival paid the young man the $1 million wager. The owner then offered to sell the short sword for $5 million. Bidding began immediately. Suddenly, an antique collector walking by offered $10 million outright. The owner gladly accepted the offer. Meanwhile, the young man noticed an unusual jade penholder nearby. He inquired about its price. Thinking it's just a worthless old pot, asked for $1,000. The young man promptly paid and took the jade penholder. The collector, having witnessed the young man's discerning eye, was puzzled by his purchase. The young man explained that the penholder itself held little value. What was valuable was the item hidden inside it.